Cheat Code Support Strategist by myheadinthecoudsnotcomingdown. Read by Rat Overlord. Chapter 56. Summary. Just some hero class training. Tensei's smile was kind as he looked at Tenya.
Are you ready for this?
Tenya took a deep breath.
No, I don't deserve a second chance at heroism like this. They should have expelled me.
Tensei nodded seriously.
They should have, but then again, they should have told me that there was no way I could return to heroism, and here we are. Whether or not you deserve another chance, Tenya, the important thing is what you do with it. I suppose,
Tenya said tightly, rubbing his shoulder nervously. Even through the fabric of his uniform, he could feel where it transitioned from skin to cold metal. Hatsume had said it would take a while to get used to, but both he and Tensei had wanted to get back to, well, not normal, but to training as soon as possible, and Recovery Girl had given them the go-ahead, so there they were. Tenya held the door open while Tensei rolled through, and he swallowed nervously as he realized that the entire class was staring at them. They were a few minutes late, which Tenya hated, but Aizawa had insisted that that was the best way to make sure that they only had to explain the situation once. That didn't mean Tenya was comfortable, but he was obeying the teacher, so he'd get through it, hopefully.
Perfect, you're here,
Aizawa said, checking their names on the roll sheet.
Everyone, you all know Ida already, and unless you've had your head under a rock in this class, you should be aware of his brother Tensei Ida, a.k.a. Ingenium.
The class nodded hesitantly, some of them giving Tenya pitying or even wary looks. Tenya swallowed nervously and bowed.
I apologize for my actions. Netsu and Aizawa have permitted me to rejoin the hero class on a trial basis, provided that I can prove that I have learned from my mistake. For the sake of the rest of your limbs, I hope you do,
Aizawa said dryly.
And before the rest of you ask, Ingenium is also here as a student, of sorts. With the help of some support items, he has decided to try and re-enter the field as a hero, but that will require overhauling his entire fighting style, so for all intents and purposes, he's basically a first year again, and will be tagging along with the rest of the class for a while as part of his physical therapy and rehabilitation. He's about as immature as most of you anyways, so I have no doubt he'll fit right in.
Tensei laughed loudly.
Oh, come on, Sho. Give me some credit. My maturity is completely intentional.
Aizawa shot him a glare.
That makes it worse. Find your seats. That's okay.
Tensei winked.
I brought my own.
That earned a few laughs from the class, and Tenya hurried to his empty seat while Tensei just parked himself at the edge of the first row. This was going to be an interesting year. Ochako giggled quietly as she caught sight of All Might frantically stuffing a pocket-sized teaching handbook into his pocket before striding through the door with a smile on his face that was obviously his attempt to hide how insecure he was. Ochako was sure that he'd get more comfortable with teaching as the year went on, but for now it was oddly comforting to see the number one hero flounder and make mistakes, just like she was doing with One For All. It helped her feel more like a worthy successor, or, well, it helped her see that a perfect successor didn't exactly exist, and that all of them were just trying their best. It was nice.
Hello, children!
All Might boomed.
For today's exercise, we will be playing dodgeball. Dodgeball?
Bakugo practically exploded, and a few of their other classmates sniggered at his reaction.
I'm in the hero course to fight, not run away from a stupid ball! Well, you also need to know how to evade attacks, young Bakugo.
All Might stuttered.
It's one thing to beat an opponent into submission, but it is another thing to survive long enough to do so.
Oh, come on, Blasty! It'll be fun!
Mina laughed. Unless, of course, you don't think that you can win.
Of course I can win!
Bakugo yelled.
You damn extras! I'll make you pay for underestimating me! Well then. Now that that's taken care of.
All Might cleared his throat.
Dodgeball. To keep it simple, we will be playing last man standing. So, once you're out of the game, you're out. Whichever team has the last player on the field wins. Teams will be divided evenly, with those with odd seat numbers on one team and even seat numbers on the other. Both Idas will be on the same team, since they are still getting back into the swing of things. Any questions?
Ochako bounced with excitement as her classmates shook their heads. This was perfect! She hadn't given out a whole lot of details about her new abilities, and she'd been too nervous to really use one for all new combat exercise yet, so this would be good because it shouldn't require too much accuracy on her part. She just had to dodge the balls and not get hit. She could do this. They all got into position, eyeing the balls at the center. Ochako grinned at Hitoshi, who was on the other team, and he returned with a smirk of his own. They both knew each other's weaknesses, so it should be an even match. But Ochako was confident. He was going down. All Might blew the whistle, and everyone rushed forward. Bakugo was one of the first to reach the center, and Ochako anchored to him, her earrings beeping for a split second before she was at the center. Bakugo reared back when she suddenly appeared in his face. She smirked and grabbed the ball that he'd been reaching for before anchoring to Mineta, who was still near the edges, and disappearing.
What the fuck, round face?
Bakugo shouted.
We're on the same team!
Sorry, Bakugo. Ochako smiled and shrugged. You were the closest person to where I needed to be. Bakugo grabbed another ball and launched it with an explosive force into Ojiro's stomach.
We'll try to mess up the other team next time! Come on, Bakugo.
Hitoshi tilted his head to the side like some sort of creepy doll and didn't blink as he stared at Bakugo with wide eyes. Can a little girl really mess you up that much? Bakugo screwed his eyes shut.
Nice try, eyebags, but I figured out your quirk and it's not gonna...
Hitoshi smiled as he took control.
Good idea, but not quite.
Shoji was using all 6 of his arms to throw balls in every direction, and it didn't take long for one to hit Bakugo in the back, knocking him out of the brainwashing.
Oh, eyebags, I'm gonna... Young Bakugo, you are out,
All Might said.
Please come to the side until the next round.
Bakugo glared at Hitoshi.
You're gonna pay for this, eyebags!
Hitoshi returned his glare smoothly.
I'm looking forward to it.
About half the class was already out at this point, the initial bloodbath making almost no time at all, and Ochako hurried to remove the gravity on her ball and throw it at Jiro, who managed to dodge. Without gravity, however, the ball just continued forward and hit Tensei before he could wheel himself out of the way. Ochako winced. Oh, sorry.
I'm good.
Tensei gave her a thumbs up.
Nice hit.
Ochako smiled proudly. Thanks. Dark Shadow launched an attack at her, but there was a group of abandoned balls near Mina, so Ochako anchored to her and disappeared right as the ball would have hit her. The more she jumped, the better she was getting at recentering herself, so when she reappeared behind Mina, it only took her a half second before she bent down, retrieved a ball, and launched it. Mina turned around just in time for the ball to hit her in the stomach instead of the back, and she laughed as she made her way off the field.
Oh, we're gonna have so much fun pranking people!
Ochako giggled and shook her head as she grabbed another ball. On her team, it was her, Shoji, and Sue still in. Hitoshi was still in on the other team, and they seemed to be doing a bit better considering that they still had Tokoyami, Kirishima, Yaomomo, and most likely Hagakure, since her gloves were still lying on the floor. Yaomomo had created what looked like a t-shirt cannon and was using it to launch the balls with ridiculous accuracy. Shoji, however, could launch more at a time. He grabbed another 6 balls and managed to hit Hagakure by sheer luck, judging by the yelp, but Yayorosu used his split second of distraction to hit him with her launcher. Ochako squeaked as another ball came flying at her courtesy of Kirishima, and she instinctively teleported away and towards Tokoyami, accidentally stumbling as she reappeared and knocked right into him, which gave Tsu the opening that she needed to get him out. But, unfortunately, Yayorosu returned the favor almost immediately. It was now just Ochako versus Kirishima, Yaomomo, and, of course, Hitoshi.
You may as well give up now,
Hitoshi drawled, tossing a ball between his hands.
Do you really think that you can take on all of us?
Ochako just smirked, giving Hitoshi a quick nod before using Kirishima as an anchor to warp across the field. She ended up way farther than she'd been trying for, probably overcorrecting for getting too close the last couple of times, but she was still able to grab a ball and throw it at Kirishima, who was so surprised at her sudden appearance that he hardened instead of dodging. The best plan at this point was probably just to keep moving. If she managed to turn this game into whack-a-mole instead of dodgeball, then she might actually be able to win this, especially if she could bait Yaomomo and Hitoshi into hitting each other. She grinned and switched anchors every jump, never staying in one place for more than a few seconds until she got lucky and appeared right between them. She stayed put for almost 5 seconds, long enough for both of them to take aim and let loose their balls, then disappeared in time for both attacks to fly right through where she had been and hit the other person right as Ochako reappeared beside All Might. "How was that? Did I win?" "Woo!" Mina cheered loudly. "That's our girl!"
"Wow, how'd you do that?"
Kaminare's eyes were wide.
"That's one awesome quirk development. I wish I'd learned that much on my internship."
Ochako couldn't stop smiling proudly as All Might put his hand on her shoulder and spoke quietly.
"It seems as though you're doing quite well in making that power your own, young Uraraka. The others would be proud."
As always, I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, feel free to leave a like or comment down below because I love hearing from you guys, and make sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date with whenever I post. And as always, your little reminder to drink some water, you fiends, because I can tell that you're dehydrated.